Annabelle, you know that many of my listeners are in their late 40s, 50s, starting new careers, relationships, or embracing menopause. And they are there in Brazil. And I'm sure they're super curious to see you, to hear you. And they want to know, because I want to know as a Brazilian, what is it like being an Afro-Deutsch? A black German, and at the age of 54, and being glamorous like you are here. Tell us in Brazil.
My life, this is me. So it's like, for me, it is, the constant awareness that you have something, which is the skin color, that differs you from the majority of the people around you. That is something that does something to you. And it can be very challenging. That's why I remember being in Brazil for the first time, and I left the airport and I'm like, oh my God, they all look like me. It was, for me, that was life changing. Like, my whole life, I was different. When we moved to Togo in Africa, West Africa, I was white. Here I'm black. So in Brazil, I found I really liked it, but it was also a very strange feeling. For me, being a public person is so-called, a celebrity is so-called, it doesn't make any difference. It's part of the job.
Hello, and welcome to episode 32 of Caos, Parte, or A Particular Chaos, the Brazilian videocast that celebrates mature women who turn chaos into purpose. I'm Noemia Colonna, a 51-year-old journalist, a restless soul, compulsively curious and passionate about life. I love listening to and sharing the stories of women around the world. Women who find meaning, strength, and beauty in the chaos of their experiences. I live between Berlin and Rio de Janeiro, two cities that could not be more different, and yet both connect me to extraordinary women. From this privileged crossroads, I bring you inspiring stories told through the microphone of my own chaos, apart. So, what's my goal? To offer these stories as a gentle nudge, helping women over 45 embrace the moment they are living, recognize the power of their maturity, and turn the lessons of experience into a life purpose that truly fulfills them. When I turned 50 in June 2024, something shifted deeply in the way I understood the world. I was on a breathtaking beach in Kenya, celebrating this milestone I had planned for years and saved carefully to make happen. Looking back on 5 decades of life, I asked myself, what will I do with the next half, whatever time I have left? I've done so much. I've worked on countless projects, planted trees, built houses, raised a child. I haven't written a real book, but I've written so many stories as a journalist, even a master thesis about the power of women's voices in the media. And yet, I'm not sure what else there is for me. I feel tired, I thought. So I celebrated my birthday, danced, and watched the ocean, but those questions stayed with me. If anything, they multiplied. What can I do with everything I've learned to fulfill my life purpose? Communication has always been my calling, but what have I truly changed through it? What difference have I made with the gifts I've been given? Those questions guided me forward. After moving to Germany in 2019 and stepping away from my work as a reporter and TV presenter in Brazil, my old dream rekindled. To tell women's stories so that other women might feel empowered by them. Then came 2020. The pandemic, perimenopause, hitting hard, and my teenage son's hormones in full force. The world was shaking, and so was I. But I needed to stay standing. And one of the few things that helped me stay grounded was listening to my heart and answering the urge to hear and share women's stories. Since arriving here, I've encountered so many remarkable women from different social backgrounds and nationalities. Black women, women from other ethnicities, Brazilian women rebuilding their lives abroad, creative entrepreneurial women making the impossible happen, and most of them doing it after 45, 50s, 60s, and so on. This made me wonder, what is this power of maturity that nobody talks about? We hear plenty about menopause and the ageism that comes with it. And yes, those struggles are real. But is that really all we are? Everywhere I looked, I found women reinventing themselves, starting over, rebuilding, choosing to bloom again at 50. Their stories were powerful and they deserved a voice. That's when I created Caos, Parte, my podcast, to share my own chaotic journey toward embracing maturity while listening to others do the same. And the result? Absolutely amazing. On one of these journeys, I met a woman I've admired for years, Annabelle Mandeng. Born in northern Germany 54 years ago with Cameroonian roots, Annabelle is one of the most recognized actresses in German film and television. She's also a presenter, voice artist, and my personal favorite, amazing podcast host. She speaks German, of course, English and French fluently, radiates charisma, and dedicates her voice and platform to promoting representation, diversity, and visibility for women of all ages and backgrounds in Germany. Today, we talk about all that and much more.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, what a flattering announcement, seriously. I mean, I'm speechless, which I rarely am. Thank you so much for having me. It's a great honor.
It is my pleasure, my dear. You have such a busy schedule and you just open your space to talk to my Brazilian women audience who are navigating midlife with courage and curiosity. So please tell them, how is it like for a German woman as well?
I don't think there's so much of a difference. I mean, a woman is a woman, it depends on, of course, in the culture that you live in. But I think in general, it is more about getting to that age means that you have achieved something, which means that you were actually able to stay alive that long. That is something. So you have all the struggles you've gone through. You went through them, obviously. And then I think you come at this age, you realize that it's better not to panic. It's better to stay calm and to take the task that are ahead of you step by step. I think that's what youth actually does to you, is to rush. And that is something that you learn over the years not to. Which doesn't mean that you're not able or capable or even allowed to do more projects. Why not? I mean, it's like, who's going to stop you? It doesn't make any sense for me, because I was actually also, I grew up with a lone mother. My parents divorced when me and my brother were very young. I was 1.5, my brother was 6.5. And my mom, who's the German part, she was, a blonde, short woman in the 1970s to live with 2 Black children. That was something. And she finished her studies. She went on trips with us. We lived abroad in Togo, West Africa, for the German Development Office. That's why I speak French. We lived in Pakistan. That's why I speak English. And she just did it. And so for me, I never had this cultural or the pressure from society that I cannot do something because I'm a woman. So intellectually and emotionally, for me and physically, it doesn't make any sense to have those kind of borders. And that is how I live my life. I just go, if I can't do things, it's because of my capabilities. It's not because of people telling me that I can't do things. So I think it's very important to let go of those boundaries and the pressure that come from the outside world, because they are much greater, I think, than the pressure from within. So if you realize that at a certain age, you can, if you're organized well enough, if you know what you want to do, if you know who you want to do it with, then you're capable automatically to do it. There's like, there's no one who could stop you except pressure from the society or your family, which you have to deal with or not. So I know it's easily said because it really depends on the culture that you live in. But I think from what I learned from Brazil and what I know from Europe, it is possible. I think Brazilian women, the ones that I met also when I was very young and I was modeling and I met Brazilian girls who came, from Brazil to model in Germany. They're very strong-willed, very strong women, very charismatic, tough girls. And so I think with the possibilities that all women have all over the world, but especially in those two cultures, I think you can just go for it. It's like being older doesn't mean that you're slower. It doesn't mean that you're less capable. I think it means the opposite, because you know what to do with the energy that you have. You know what to do with the resources that you have. You know how to use your intellect, your emotions, and what is the most important thing, you have learned what you don't want in your life.
Of course. And how was for you, Annabelle, to grow up between two cultures, this German and Cameroonian, and still having this ability and strength to grow the way you did, even when the society, as the German society is, presented you a kind of restrictions, or if somehow the society told you, no, you can't, how did you manage it? How did you get to grow with this determination?
Well, I never lived in between those two cultures because, as I said, my parents divorced when I was very, very, very little. So I grew up in Germany. That's the society that I know. This is my home. Whenever I went abroad, whenever I visited my father in Cameroon, it was a visit. It was not that I really inherited that culture. But of course, I look as if I did. So it's like, being a half black, light-skinned German woman is something that people recognize on the street. So of course I was confronted with people that told me that I don't belong, or that asking me where I really come from, all that stuff. But I must admit, I think it's probably my personality, because I always chose not to take that too seriously. I always chose that is those people that address me that way. Those are the ones that are, first of all, stupid. Those are the ones that are culturally not well developed. So for me, it was, even though it was a nuisance, I didn't get it. I didn't let it go under my skin. I was always very strong-willed. I always had the possibility to choose between I do it or I don't. And I always chose to do it. It's like, because there's no in between. There is either you give up, you resign, and you say, okay, it's the same with losing weight, doing sports, going after a job, or you don't. You go for it or you don't. And this is how I lived my life. This is how I always will live my life. So I didn't have the conflict to think that I can't do anything. It's not a conflict that I had. The only conflict that I had is if I am as a person capable of doing it, not other people telling me, so.
Wow. Of course. And why did you decide to become an actress, Annabelle? What happened to you that told you, okay, being an actress is my mission?
It wasn't my decision. Really.
Really? Tell me more about this.
Yeah, it was like I went to school and I started acting in theater plays at school because I think it was fun. It was, fun being with the teams, telling stories and everything. And the same with being a presenter. And actually people from the outside, they approached me and said, we see you on stage. And I'm like, really? I don't know. So I tried it out and I had a lot of fun. And so I grew into this. I grew into the profession as a presenter and as an actress. Very late, actually, because even though I started young in my teenage years, the German society was not ready for a 5'11", half black woman. To act. I mean, I did act, but not very large roles or tiny roles. So I said, okay, I'm not going to act the cliche roles. I'm not going to play a cleaning woman, a prostitute, or a refugee. I'm going to wait till the society is ready for me. So till that time, I worked as a presenter, because being a presenter with an international look was always easy on German television. So I earned my money being a presenter and had, I was relaxed enough to wait for the film industry, as I said. So actually, even though I had played in several roles, the biggest role that really made me into an actress also for the public was when I was 48.
No way, really? At the age of 48, you got your main role.
Breakthrough. It was the second female lead, highly awarded cinema movie called Berlin Alexanderplatz. And from that, I had a role I gained a role for Vikings Valhalla, a series on Netflix where I played a warrior fighting because I'm a very athletic woman. So I do my own stunts. And from there, step by step, the roles are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, nationally and internationally.
Wow. By the way, Berlin Alexanderplatz is one of my favorite German movies here. And you act beautifully with Welke Benge.
Welke Benge, yes.
Yeah, an amazing Guinea-Bissau, and also he speaks perfect Portuguese.
Absolutely.
Actor, and he's always in Brazil, so we call him Brazilian for sure. Yeah. And that's interesting because usually things start to happen to us in maturity. I became a kind of a model at the age of 50. I started, posing for a German brand here, and then I became kind of a model at the age of 50, So don't you think that when we are older, we just find a kind of power that it is not only us who found it, but other people also find it. And that's why we get more invites and more projects to do from this age.
I think society is changing concerning that. I think it's like it recognizes the power and the beauty of elderly, so-called elderly women, especially. Also the film industry, although the film industry still has a problem with telling stories where women in our age play main roles. It is, especially in Germany, but all over the world. So it's like, even though 25% of the German populations are women over 47, recognition on television is much, much less. And so we keep fighting for that and all. But I think that the society in general recognizes that it's not all about the 25-year-olds. It's like, if we sell things differently, we also buy more than others, because we have reached a certain age and we know what things we like and we don't. And so as customers, we are also to be taken seriously. And so it's like a movement that slowly but sure gets recognition,
But did you have to find a little bit for this? As a Black German woman here, did you have to unite with other women in order to get this space in media and everywhere here, or things just happen a little bit more smoother for you?
Well, I think it's a mixture. I mean, Black Lives Matter also changed, of course, in Germany, a lot of things. I mean, that's when we formed Black Women X Matter. Thelma and I, and Thelma took over. She is a great a Ghanaian German actress who plays main roles also. A beautiful woman, 44 years old, one of my closest friends. And so so this group became important to exchange also experiences and where to find the right doctors and schools and kindergartens for children, happenings that are taking place, artists and all. So we have also the Black filmmakers groups. And so that all got organized after Black Lives Matter. So it did something to our mindset, that it helps to organize, that it makes sense to rely on others that have similar experiences. So that's really nice. That's a great movement, So it's to have the strengths more concentrated instead of always needed to look for someone who can help out and who understands what you're talking about. So that changed. But of course, there's still space for it to grow even bigger. But I think we are on a good path concerning that.
Of course. In Brazil, we are fighting little by little. We also have a very big movement of women fighting for that space. But of course, we have a lot of things to fight against. I don't know how much you know about Brazil, but we have a past of slavery as a former Portuguese colony. And although we are 54% Black population in Brazil, we still don't have enough representation, especially among women,
Yeah, I was in Rio. I filmed there for ZDF I did. So I was there for a couple of days. I talked to Black women too, and they said it's like concerning doctors and gynecologists, whatever, the way Black women are treated. I mean, it's still, I mean, the Middle Ages. You have even more to fight for than we do here, a lot. And I think also it's also because of your society is much more conservative, much more machoism, much more men related, and then you had Bolsonaro for so many years, so it's like.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean.
And can you imagine it? Put on top of this all the mental health issue that we face among all these fights and everything. So I'd like to ask you about this. How do you get to achieve mental health and balance in this period of midlife, when you have to handle career, hormones, families, the world, lack of opportunity in society, because you are a woman? How do you get to balance your mental health among all this?
Well, first of all, I don't have children, which makes a big difference, I think. So this is something, that is, so I look at things differently, of course. I have other opportunities. I have more space, more time for myself to develop. I'm happily married to a traumatologist, a surgeon, and my husband is really very, very supportive. So that is a luxury that as a base that I have in my life, that I've had for the past 10 years. So I'm very happy. And I need to say that up front, that's quite unusual. Because if you don't have that and you struggle of loneliness on top, then it makes it really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
My approach in general is physical health, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I had a couple of accidents when I was a child, when I was a teenager. I have metal in my alongside my spine and stuff. So I had grave surgeries. And what I learned is, as long as you are physically fit, you create a stable house for your mind. So if you don't eat healthily, if you don't do enough workout, sports and something, so that your body decays kind of, it is hard for the mind to feel comfortably at home. Because I think that is a very important base. People always think, oh no, it's about being vain, it's about being slim or fat or not. No, it's not about that. It is about being healthy. And health is something that should be a very serious part of your day-to-day life. You should take yourself seriously concerning that. I can see with my mom, who did not, and how she's suffering now. She has a great mind. She's very strong-willed. That's what I got from her.
How old is she?
81. So her body, her knees, everything is just now, she can't move the way she wants to. She doesn't have the strength she wants. She's like, I mean, it's so deeply frustrating, and is because you need to take care of it early enough. I started when in my 20s. I never stopped working out. I can only tell all the women out there, please take care of your body, work out, lift weights, eat healthily, sleep. And that gives you a certain base to be able to concentrate on the things that you need and to be strong, to have a strong mind. It depends. One depends on the other, I think, from my personal experience. I'm not a medicine, I'm not a doctor, so I'm just saying. But I think that's really, really important. And whoever I talk to that are professional medicine doctors, like my husband, confirm that. So having said that, this is how I approach challenges. If I am in a situation where I have the feeling, okay, now I'm really feeling tired from my mind. Maybe I am too old to get to the goal that I want to get to. But when then I go for a run and I do some yoga and calm down. And then I think, no, I mean, I still have the opportunity, but my personal approach might have to change. So it is not about not being able to achieve something, but to find the path that fits you personally. So it's always to stay in contact with yourself. I call it to have your inner dialogue, to listen to yourself. And so you are able to realize what is good and what is bad for you. And then you can make choices that make sense, whatever age you are at.
That's true. That's true. And we also live it on our own experience. We just realized that we are our own medicine. I used to tell me that, I started working out seriously when I became 50, and it has been, 48, and it has been 3 years. I'm working out actively 6 times per week. and all my health problems disappeared. That's crazy, right? That's crazy.
It's actually that easy. And people always, and also, I think the bad thing is that through to so-called social media, we have the image of you need to work out to stay thin and toned and young looking and so the pressure is extreme. But it's not about that. It is a part of it automatically. Of course you look in the eye of the society good if you're fit and slim, whatever, but it's not about that. It's really about your health, how your organs function, how your heart functions, how you can breathe. You know, can you go run for a bus that you almost missed? Can you do that? It's important that you are in control of your health, as long as it's possible, as long as you don't have a disease that, and you know, whatever. So, and I also tell my friends, it's like, I mean, all the doctors write about it now. You have to work out. If you do that, menopause problems are going to decrease. Depression is going to decrease. This is scientifically proven, and people still don't take it serious. I really don't get it.
No, that's incredible. And beauty comes as a result of our taking care, right?
Yeah. It's a charisma that you have. It's not about how your skin looks, but it's about what you radiate, you know?
Totally, absolutely. And speaking on beauty and standards, beauty standards and skin, you have worked in a field that often defines women by physical appearance. How do you redefine beauty for yourself now compared to when you were younger?
I don't really, because I mean, I'm 54. I don't look 54. I know it. It's because I've always taken care of my skin. I've always used sunscreen. You know, I don't have many wrinkles or none. And it's so, I don't ask myself that kind of question. So it's, for me, it's more about really staying fit in general and keeping on taking care of my skin and my looks, because of course the camera never blinks. So, and I had pigment disorder that was grave, and I had to have laser treatment, everything. It just took years, but I always thought, okay, if something happened to me and destroyed something, that I can also heal it. And so it's about consistency. It's about discipline. Yeah, it's never to give up. That's what I think it's about. If you age well when you constantly take care of yourself. That's how it is, you know?
And what is it like aging in the spotlight in front of the camera? Because for you, I can imagine the challenges are bigger, not because you have a problem with aging in front of the camera, but because society make a kind of a pressure, right? You are in front of the cameras. How is it like for you?
I'm not there yet. Maybe when I'm 70.
Wow.
But not at the moment. I must say, no, I'm not, because it's like, you know, I'm going to take part in and now. It's a show in January, and I've participated for the last time 10 years ago. You know, when you jump over a swimming pool, high jumping, and do stuff. And I'm going to participate because I was the most successful one. I was the first woman to jump from the 10-meter tower 10 years later in my age. So it's like, for me, the challenges are, I'm not there yet. And I think it's because I've been taking care of my fitness and my health always, since I was a little. So, but I will get there eventually. And you know, I don't know, I'm going to deal with it then. I'm going to cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah, and maybe someone have to let you know, because you won't realize, right?
Maybe.
Oh, I love your confidence and self-acceptance. It's amazing. So once you said in an interview, I don't owe anyone an explanation for being different. Could you share a moment in your life when that realization truly set you free?
Yeah, it's actually, I wrote a book when I was 50. I published it when I was 50. And it's called Detours Are Also Ways. It's because I'm a professional self-taught person. I never studied anything. So it's always self-reflection, realizing your mistakes, to learn from them. It's part of my life. That's how I became so good in what I do, is because also, same again, I took myself seriously. And I also asked my best friends, who are always the worst critics, the strictest critics, how to improve and stuff. And so that helped. And but people kept telling me, you need to decide whether you are an artist, because I'm also a painter, and or you are a voiceover artist, actress, you're an actress, or a presenter, podcast, or whatever. And I was always struggling with that. Also, my family told me, one day you need to decide, you need to decide, because otherwise you are not good in any of it. And then I realized I decide not to decide. Because what I do is I do storytelling in whatever nuances. And this is a decision that I made. And that is something that I realized only when I wrote that book, that I realized I don't need to explain myself. What I do is storytelling, either by being a painter, by being a presenter, by being on stage, in front of the camera. It's always storytelling. So I have made my decision already. So it's like, but I never realized it. I realize that now, and I'm very clear about that. And I still have the freedom to, I just formed two companies. One is about an app. One is about my own film company, because also there as a producer, I'm going to tell stories. So I think you realize what you really want, and you realize what you're capable of if you listen to yourself.
Yeah.
It's not about what the others tell you. It's about what yourself tell yourself. So.
Of course. Yeah, I'm exactly like you. We are multipotentiality, people who are interested about different topics, and we have passions for a lot of things. And most of the time we were criticized for having so many passions and not being specialized. But I loved your concept about you are a storyteller. Doesn't matter the mean, right? And the older we get, the more experience we have.
Yes, and it's also, I'm also very clear of being a storyteller, because, and that is good it is good for me not to decide for one field. I try it, it's not good for me. Because the thing is, if I leave one field, if I for instance, I presented a huge show in Hamburg a couple of days ago. Robbie Williams was a star guest, so it was a big thing. And when I finish this and I step out of that situation, and now I have a casting for an action role on Monday for a Netflix series, I step into that situation with a different view, because I have a new view, because I had to step out to do something else and step back in. And that always gives me a fresh mind. It's always good. If I paint a painting and I think about what I paint, because I portray actually Black women. So when I do this and I finish this is a kind of storytelling. It's about colors. It's about the eyes. It's about the emotions. And then when as an actress, it's also about that. It's about emotions. And I think, okay, how can I transport the emotions? What means do I have in that kind of field? So every field actually helps me, because it adds up to one field of storytelling.
Of course. And all these stories just makes you. You are Annabelle Mandeng because of all those stories, right?
Yeah.
Annabelle, you juggle with so many things and so many projects. How do you find time for your rest, and how much importance do you give it to your pause? How important it is for you?
I still have to learn that. I'm not very good at it. I need to do that. The job that I described, for instance, I was 15 hours on stage and I was completely exhausted. And still the next day I had to function because my agency called and blah. And so in there, I need to learn. I turn off my phone. I spend time on the couch watching. I love Spanish series, because I want to learn the language. So it's like I spend time with my husband, go for a walk, go train and stuff. So I'm not good at it, and I'm always at the verge of overpacing, and it's due to my temperament, of course. But I need to focus sometimes on letting go and just taking a break, because of course that's like regenerating is part of the whole process of being able to be fit. So it's like, it is something that I struggle with, I have to admit. But because my friends keep telling me, our family keeps telling me, you need to take a break. And I'm like, yes, tomorrow, maybe.
And you have your workout series, right? Which is also a way to rest and to rest your brain, your mind. At least for me, it works super well. I go to the gym 6 times a week. So it's my time, to listen to my podcast. Oh my gosh.
I think everyone needs to find something to calm down. I think it's really important. I love to go to the forest, for instance, to go forest bathing and just to smell the air, hug trees. I do that sometimes, but I think actually my work-life balance is kind of out of balance. But I think that people should try to get it in balance. I think it's very important because it's like I know that my temperament and my endurance and it's above the average. I can last longer than other people can, but that's mean that's healthy. So it's like, I admit I have to learn it.
But we can see you are bomb, and we are super happy for having you and listening to your stories in the podcast and watching the movies you were acting. And I love to see your pictures on Instagram being a star. Oh my God, when we are in an event. What is your favorite role?
Fighting.
I love it.
Vikings Valhalla was really when I was fighting with a sword and shield. I loved it. And then I played an action role also in Germany, and now I'm getting casting for an action role. And this is really, I love it. I love physical roles. But I did Mozart, where I played an opera diva with wigs and the historical, how do you say, that plays in the 19th century about the Mozart children. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be on television soon in December. And that was also a fantastic role. I really loved it. But those are always roles where I step out of not my comfort zone. I don't think I have a comfort zone because I step out of it constantly. But those are roles that have elements that I don't have in my day-to-day life. Like singing as an opera singer, I can't sing. But I was like, I pretended to, and I learned how to sing. And of course it's going to get dubbed, but it's like to do this and to realize the strength of my vocal cords and that was very interesting for me also. And how to learn to fight with a sword and a shield in those costumes that were heavy, handmade leather and chain costumes. That was fantastic. I had 5-6 times per week. I had the stunt workouts, and I was really, really working hard for the choreographies. And that is something that I really, really live for. I really like that. I love it.
We can see your face just shine when you talk about this. Annabelle, you know that many of my listeners are in their late 40s, 50s, starting new careers, relationships, or embracing menopause. And they are there in Brazil. And I'm sure they are super curious to see you, to hear you. And they want to know, because I want to know as a Brazilian, what is it like being an Afro-Deutsch, a Black German, and at the age of 54, and being glamorous like you are here?
I don't know how to say that. This is my life. This is me. So it's like, for me, it is, the constant awareness that you have something, which is the skin color, that differs you from the majority of the people around you. That is something that does something to you. And it can be very challenging. That's why I remember being in Brazil for the first time, and I left the airport and I'm like, oh my God, they all look like me. It was, for me, that was life-changing. Like my whole life, I was different. When we moved to Togo, in Africa, West Africa, I was white. Here I'm Black. So in Brazil, I found, it was, I really liked it, but it was also a very strange feeling. So for me, being a person that a public person is so-called, a celebrity is so-called, for me, it doesn't make any difference. It's part of the job. So it's like, I'm a very down-to-earth person. I love my friends. I cook for my family. I work out. I don't care if someone recognizes me on the street. I'm always friendly to people that do and that ask for autographs or something, because it's part of the job. I think if you choose that job to be a public person, you need to have the respect for the people that have to do with that, which are the people on the street, that the people that you deal with, and that's just part of it, and you need to deal with it. If you can't deal with it, don't do that job. It's as simple as that. Because I find it extremely disrespectful. People are being unpolite because they're being recognized. It's a job that I chose. It's not about being a public person. I chose to be a storyteller. And being a public person is part of the choice, but it's not the choice that I made my choice is to be a storyteller. So I don't have to conflict thinking about I'm a public person. Oh, I'm glamorous. I know that I'm glamorous. I can dress the way I'm supposed to dress. I'm 5'11". I used to be a model. I used to be on the catwalk. I know how to dress appropriately for a glamorous party or whatever, but I do dress that way out of respect towards the host. Because when I'm invited and on the invitation it says, please dress glamorously, I do, out of respect. Because then I'm part of a party where I get champagne for free, where I have whatever, the shuttle, and photographers are there and stuff. So my part of the story is to dress appropriately. And that's why my dresses and the way I'm in public are always so overwhelming and stuff, because I take that seriously. I talk to designers beforehand. Look, I have to do this and that. I have to go to that and that award show, whatever. Can you design something for me? Because I think appropriate would be this and this and that. And so that's how I handle things. I have respect for the people that I deal with. So it's not easy for me to describe how it is to be a Black woman in the public. It's the overall picture of being a storyteller, if that answers the question. Probably not. I'm sorry.
But people, she's glamorous, even when she's not in the red carpet. I met her on jeans and I was like, oh my gosh, look at this woman. Annabelle, we are coming to the end. Unfortunately, what wonderful conversation. But I want to know, what do you still dream about? Is there anything that you want to accomplish personally or professionally?
Yes.
Tell us.
Yes, I wrote a series together with a friend, Girls on a Trip, and I'm going to pitch it at Netflix in the beginning of next year. And of course, I'm one of the main roles. So this is my dream, that I will play my own series, produce it, and be on Netflix or whatever streamer. And I think I'm very positive that it's going to take place, but that is a goal that I really want to and will achieve still.
Oh, and we are going to be here rooting for you.
Fingers crossed.
Annabelle, thank you so much for your presence here and for giving us a little bit of your story in your time, and for being inspirational for so many women over 50. And looking at you, it's amazing, empowering. Thank you. Keep shining.
Thanks. Thank you for having me. It was a real honor and pleasure. What does goodbye in Portuguese mean?
Tchau.
Tchau.
Ou beijo.
Beijo.
Este foi o episódio 32 de Um Caos à Parte. O videocast brasileiro que traz histórias de mulheres maduras que transformam o caos em propósito. Hoje eu conversei com a super famosa atriz, apresentadora e podcaster alemã aqui em Berlim, Annabelle Mandeng. A gente falou sobre vários temas, incluindo a beleza de sermos muitas em uma só quando chegamos na maturidade. Aqui eu falo com e para mulheres maduras, inquietas, questionadoras e criativas que fazem de suas histórias sempre um caos à parte. Se você quer ficar por dentro das novidades, segue o canal, acione o sininho para receber os novos episódios no seu feed. Aproveite, dá um like neste vídeo e compartilha com aquela pessoa que precisa de um toque de inspiração para transformar a sua maturidade em liberdade e propósito. Se você está ouvindo este episódio fora do YouTube, em sua plataforma de podcast favorita, segue a gente lá, dá 5 estrelas, comenta e vamos ficar juntinhas nessa conversa de caos e propósito em nossa maturidade. Assim, a gente expande a nossa voz e a ousadia de mulheres mais velhas pelo mundo. Até o próximo episódio.